Hi everybody. In today's video I want to talk all about the topic of using a sperm donor and a lot of the fears and concerns that women have when they're considering having a baby by themselves using a sperm donor. For example, how on earth do I choose the right sperm donor? What do I tell my child about coming from a sperm donor? What do I do on Father's Day? What about if there are other siblings that are created from using a sperm donor, half siblings, things like that. There's a lot of questions that women have and I'm going to go into them in this video today. So for those of you who don't know me, my name's TJ. Welcome to my channel. I'm a solo mom, a single mother by choice, which means I used a sperm donor to create my child. She's now 2 years and 3 months old. On this channel, we call my little girl Baby Star, but I've recently transitioned to calling her Little Star because she's no longer a baby. She's like full toddler. I actually also used an egg donor because I had my baby at an older age. I was 48. So I really know a lot about this sperm donor, egg donor process and all the things that it can bring up. And if you don't already know, I'm currently pregnant with baby number 2, once again as a single mother by choice. At the time of shooting this video, I'm just over 30 weeks pregnant, but I'll probably upload it later because I'm filming a whole bunch of videos now while I'm still got time before the baby comes. But I am currently 30 weeks and it's a little boy. And it's come from the same sperm donor and the same egg donor as my little girl. So I feel I'm qualified to talk about a lot of these issues about using a sperm donor because I've personally had to go through this process twice. The first time when I did IVF with my own eggs, so I needed to find a sperm donor to match with my eggs so I could create embryos to have a baby. And that did not work, so then I had to go through the process again of choosing a sperm donor and an egg donor so that those could be put together to create the embryos that actually led to the creation of my 2 children. So I've gone through the whole process of choosing a sperm donor twice, plus I've lived with the reality of having a donor-conceived child now for nearly 2.5 years, and everything that comes with it to do with donor siblings and telling other people about your child coming from a sperm donor and discussing it with your child that they came from a sperm donor, dealing with Father's Day and all the things that everybody worries about. I'm also a member of many different large Facebook groups that I spend a lot of time on with a lot of women who are solo moms, single mothers by choice, who have also used a sperm donor, and I've been part of so many discussions over the years about that. Plus, I run my own private community called the My Baby Dream community, which is for women around the world who are on an unusual path to motherhood. Many of them are on the single mother by choice path, and I've been supporting and coaching many of the women in my community on these kinds of topics to do with sperm donation and sperm donors. So I definitely feel qualified to talk about it with you here in this video. So the first big question that women have when they go down this path, because it's the first thing that they really need to face, is how on earth am I supposed to choose a sperm donor? Do I use a known donor? Do I use an unknown donor? If I use an unknown donor, should it be an anonymous donor or an open ID donor where my child gets to meet this man maybe at age 18? There are so many basic questions, and then once you narrow that down, okay, I'm using a known donor or I'm choosing an unknown donor. How do you actually choose that person? How do you choose a known donor amongst the people you know? How do you choose an unknown donor from a sperm bank, from a website with a selection of men on it? What criteria do you use? Do you base it all on how the man looks, or on his health history, or his personality, or his race, or his interests, or his values? Like, what do you do? It is a big topic. Now, I cannot answer that here because that would take me an hour, but I've actually recorded a video masterclass on this. It's nearly an hour long, and it goes into everything you need to know, everything you need to think about when choosing a sperm donor, and it helps you to figure out what are the most important things for you in your selection process, because everybody's selection process is completely different and everybody's selection criteria is completely different, and that's because we all have different things that are important to us. So I go into that in great detail in that masterclass. That masterclass now lives inside a series that I've put together. All the other things in the series are audio seminars, so there's a bunch of audio seminars and this video masterclass, and together they're all a series to help women dealing with all different aspects of using a sperm donor. And I'll put a link to that down in the description box. So if you're feeling like you would love some guidance and some support on how to actually choose the donor from the people that you're choosing from as a known donor, or from the website in your sperm bank, like how do you even choose which sperm bank? And then once you've chosen the sperm bank, how do you choose from all the donors that they're offering you? It's a big decision. So I've put a lot of thought into that masterclass, and it's basically everything I've learned through going through this twice and through supporting lots of other women with this. I know it will help you, so definitely go and listen to that. But there are other concerns that women have about using a sperm donor that are beyond just which sperm donor should I use. Issues like, how do I tell other people that I've used a sperm donor? You know, when you're out and about and people say, where's the father? You get that all the time. I cannot tell you the number of Facebook posts I read in various single mother by choice Facebook groups I'm in, where people say, oh, someone just asked me, where's the father? I'm so astonished. I didn't know what to say. What should I say next time? Oh my God, people, you're going to be asked it. You're going to be asked it all the time. It's just natural. People are curious. They're just trying to make conversation. They're going to ask you that. So you're going to need to have answers for that. There will be people in your life that you'll want to talk about this with who may not have ever heard of using a sperm donor before. They may think it's strange, or they may have opinions about it. They may have judgments about it. And it's important to know how to handle that. So one of the main seminars that I've recorded in my series is how to explain this choice of a sperm donor to other people, how to deal with it from strangers on the street who might say, where's the dad, all the way through to close friends in your life who are going to try to understand this, and ways that you can explain it to them so that they feel comfortable about it, so that you can get the support you need on your journey. Because you really don't want to have people in your life who are judgy about this path. It's important that everyone in your life is supportive of you. So I've gone into a lot of detail about that, about how to approach talking about this topic with other people, because there are things that really work and there are things that don't work as well. And it's not just my experience, it's everything I've read in all the groups I'm in and all the stories I've heard and women I've worked with. There are some really great tips for how to handle other people talking about your choice to use a sperm donor. So definitely listen to that seminar if that's something you're concerned about. Another really big topic that I see raised all the time, both inside my own private community, my Baby Dream community, but also in Facebook groups I'm in, just everywhere I go in this world of women who are thinking of having a baby by themselves, is, but how do I tell my child that they've been born from a sperm donor? How do I tell my child? When do I tell my child? Should I tell them from birth? Should I wait till they're older and they can understand it? Should I just keep it a secret and hope they never find out? Like, this is a really big question that a lot of women have. And if they have decided that they do want to tell their child at a young age, they don't necessarily know how to do that. Are there books I can use? Are there different ways I can word this? How can I make it age friendly for my child so that they'll understand what I'm talking about? So one of the other seminars that I've recorded in this series is all about that, how to tell your child that they come from a sperm donor, how to tell it in a way that will be really normalizing for them. So it's just a normal thing. It's part of their life. It's not a big deal. It's not a big scary thing. It's not an upsetting thing for anyone. It's just handled in a really loving, empathetic, caring way that normalizes it for them. I've given you lots of strategies about how to do that. I've discussed in great detail about when to do that, and I've talked about the concerns for if people choose not to tell their child and what the research shows about that, how research shows that it really is important to tell your child from an early age so that it's just a normal part of their life and they don't get a big terrible shock when they're older and they suddenly find out that they came from a sperm donor. And I've talked about how to discuss with your child that they don't have a traditional father in the way maybe some of their other friends have, who's growing up with them in the home, who's raising them. There's a person out there who kindly donated sperm to you, and that's technically their biological father. And I talk about in that seminar about what to call that person. Do you call it dad, biological father? How you can make that choice for yourself that's right for your family. There's a lot that we unpack in that. That's obviously why I can't go into it in a YouTube video, because it's a long, long discussion. But I just wanted to raise it here so you'll know that if this is something you're concerned about, there is a resource out there that you can go and listen to. Listen while you're driving, listen while you're doing the dishes, to really think about this stuff and get some strategies now. Because what I have found in my journey is if I know in advance, okay, I'm going to have to think about this. How do I tell my child? How do I tell other people? And I've already got strategies in my little backpack that I'm carrying around with me to handle it, then I can relax. Because I know, okay, once I have my child, I'll have to deal with that. But at least I've got some strategies to go in there with. I don't really like to just wait until I'm in the situation where someone asks me this question or my child asks me something and I've never thought about it before. So if you're like me and you like to be prepared and you want to have strategies of how to deal with this with other people and with your own child, definitely listen to the seminars in that series. You'll find them really, really helpful. So another big concern that I hear raised by a lot of women who are considering becoming a single mother by choice, I've heard this in my own community and in Facebook groups and other solo mom circles that I'm in, is the fear of what if there are other families around the world who've used the same sperm donor as me, and so my child has half siblings that we don't know. How do I deal with that? Now, this is not usually a situation there's a known donor, because in a known donor situation, that known donor may have their own children or not, but it's unlikely they've given to lots of people. But if you're going through a sperm bank and you're using a donor who has donated their sperm to a sperm bank, that sperm may have been given to other families as well, to other women like you, or to lesbian families, or just to other families that need sperm. And if those families are successful, then there may be children born from that same sperm donor. This can be something that can feel very foreign to women when they're starting down this path. It's usually not a thing you've ever thought about. You've not really hung out in the world of donor siblings and extended families that are coming through sperm donation. It can be a whole new world, and it can be a bit scary or overwhelming to think of going into that world. And it can feel a bit foreign, like, well, what do I call these other siblings? Do I call them diblings? Do I call them donor siblings? Should my child meet them? Should I tell my child about them? How would I even find these families? Like, how do I even know if they exist? Does my sperm bank have any limits on the number of families that could be using? Are my children going to be related to hundreds of people around the world, or is it just going to be a small group? This is all very overwhelming stuff, and I felt very overwhelmed myself when I first stepped into this path of having a baby with a sperm donor. In my case, it's a little bit exaggerated because I've also used an egg donor, so I have to worry about this on both sides. But the reality is, when you think of egg donation, it requires a woman doing a round of IVF and then having an egg retrieval surgery under general anesthetic. It's not like she's going to be doing that over and over again. Most women maybe donate eggs once because it's a big thing to do. So there's probably a small number of eggs that got created, and I might have got all of them, or there might be one other family. It's not the same as a man donating sperm. A man can donate sperm over and over and over again. This is why clinics around the world have to set limits on the number of families who can use that sperm. So you're more likely to face these kind of issues when you're using a sperm donor than you are when you're using an egg donor. So in my particular case, I've not talked about this in any of my videos, but I have connected with other families around the world who've used the same sperm donor, and my little girl does have half siblings, and so does this little boy. You've got half siblings. I'm not going to say any more about that because I haven't got permission from any of those families to talk about that. But what I will say is I have created a seminar. It's not on YouTube, it's a private seminar in this series where I talk about all the things related to this issue of siblings, half siblings. How do you meet those families? How do you find out if there's any other children who've been born? What kind of role do these other families play in your life? Are they part of your family? Are they not? How to handle this with your child? How to talk about it with other people? There's so much to it. And again, it's why I'm not doing it in a YouTube video. There's too many things to talk about. So I've recorded that in this private seminar. It's in the same series about everything to do with using a sperm donor. If you are concerned about that, if you're like, I don't know anything about half siblings, donor siblings, and families, do the families all hang out? I mean, there are some families, extended families, who get together once a year and go on a cruise, and all the kids meet and the parents hang out. They've all used the same sperm donor. It's a beautiful thing. And there are some people out there who've never ever connected with any other families, and the children don't even know they have half siblings. So it ranges. There's a big spectrum here. So I've talked about all of that in that seminar. So if that's a topic that you are worried about or concerned about or just interested in and want to prepare yourself and arm yourself with information so that you understand this world of half siblings and sperm donors, as you go down your path of being a solo mum, single mother by choice, definitely listen to that seminar. It's in the same series. I'll put the link to in the description below. And the last one that I'm going to talk about today is worry about, like, how do I deal with Father's Day? You know, it might sound like a small thing, but it happens every year. And if your child particularly is in a place where there are not any other solo mums or single mothers by choice, there are no other children in that school or in that daycare center or in that preschool who have been created through a sperm donor, they may be the only child in that situation. And how are they going to feel when all the other kids are talking about their fathers and drawing pictures of their fathers, making presents for their fathers? How do you handle that? How do you interface with the schools and the daycare centers and the preschools to talk to them about the fact that your child has been created in a different way and comes from a donor family rather than a traditional father-mother family? How do you talk about it with your own child? And what kind of rituals and ceremonies can you create for your child that you can do each year on Father's Day so they feel like they're still celebrating and they don't feel like they're missing out? So I've also covered that in a seminar in my series because I just felt like if you're going to talk about sperm donors and the fact that you're having a child without a father, this is one that's going to come up. So I've also made a seminar about that. And on that topic of having a child without a father, I talked about this in one of my other videos. I have a whole separate series of seminars about the really big fears that women have, the emotional fears that women have when they're thinking of going down this path of being a single mother by choice. And that's a separate series of seminars. But one of the seminars in that talks about this issue of the father and the sperm donor. And that seminar is about, is it selfish to have a baby by yourself without a father? Is it selfish to raise a child who doesn't have a father? Because that kind of ties in with his sperm donor stuff a bit as well. So if you haven't heard about that before, you didn't see that video, you don't know that I actually have a whole separate series. And one of the seminars in that is a very long seminar. It's an hour long, where I go into all the reasons why it is not selfish to have a child without a father. There are actually some very big positives to it. There's been lots of research to it, how the children who grow up from solo mums, single mothers by choice, can be very, very stable, healthy people. But obviously the stuff that I've talked about today is a big part of that. So in order for your child to grow up in a stable, supported, healthy way without a father, you need to do things like explain to them that they come from a sperm donor, normalize it in their environment, make sure that the people in their environment understand and support this decision, make sure that the schools and the daycare centers are on board with this. Like, there's a lot you can do and steps you can take to make it a lot easier for your child to grow up without that traditional father. So I talk about that one, about is it selfish to have a baby without a father, in a different series. And this series that I've been talking to you about today is all the stuff specifically about how to deal with using a sperm donor and the implications of that in your child's life. So I definitely recommend listening to these series. They're extremely affordable. I've made them as affordable as I possibly can. They hardly cost anything. I'm just passionate about getting them out there to women because I went through all of this without this information, and I had to figure it all out by myself over a number of years through lots of research and lots of experimentation with my own child and talking to people. And I just want to help save you all of that, because I don't want you to be put off having your beautiful child because you're feeling nervous about using a sperm donor, or you don't know how to choose the donor, or you don't know how to talk about it with your child, or you don't know how to deal with other people, you're worried about siblings. Like, I don't want those things to stop you from having your child, because as I've talked about before many times, I am so glad that I finally took the plunge and went down this path and had a child by myself, because my last 2 years and 3 months with Baby Star have been just the best of my life. And I'm so excited that I'm having this little second beautiful little boy. And to think that I might have not done it because I was worried about these things is horrifying. Like, Baby Star would not exist if I had not done it. This little boy would not exist. So, I want your child to be born. I want you to have this beautiful relationship with your child. I don't want you to be put off because you're worried about things to do with sperm donor or lack of a father or things like that. So please listen to these seminars in these series because they're going to help you. You can tell I'm passionate about this stuff. So over here is another video I've made for women who are on the solo mother, single mother by choice path. You'll find it really, really helpful for you on your journey. I'm sending you so much love, so much baby dust. I'm always here to support you on your journey, and you can do it. You can totally rock this as a single mother by choice. If I can do it, you can do it. Okay, everybody, bye.